Don't blink, it's your boy Ying. Welcome to the show. Good guys are doing well, because having a wonderful day. On this 19th October 2024. It is crazy. Today we film, I want to say like 12, 13 videos, which is what I usually do on a normal day, but I haven't done that in a week. And I'm exhausted, guys. I'm exhausted, gang. So without further ado, let's get into the subject, because I'm gonna go sleep right after. It's gonna be fucking phenomenal. We're should I go sleep and just start tomorrow? There's no rest for the wicked, though. We're checking out chapter 30 of Tokyo Ghoul. Now, I'm excited because 30 to 35 is actually really good, and surprisingly so. Um, okay, so first thing first. I thought I did that. I thought I did the 3031, but I don't know where the file is. So fuck me, right? My apologies. And I was like, okay, well, let's do it again. And the good thing is, we ended last week with a chapter 29. And chapter 29 was the end of the prologue, was the end of the first arc. So 30 is the beginning of a new arc. And we're about to do 30 to 35, because I read from 30 to 35. So without further ado, let's freaking go. We got Kan meet the doc, right? The doc who transformed in Dr. Kanu, which is arguably one of the most important characters in Tokyo Ghoul history, who doesn't seem to realize he's a half Ghoul. And then again, there's a high possibility. I kind of understand why the doctor, like, okay, so we know, if you guys know why I didn't check, then don't say. But at the same time, he checked on Ken for a couple times, so he should have his old, like, he doesn't need to check his blood level. He knows about Ken, right? And as long as Ken look healthier than he did looking when he came in, you're like, okay, well, my patient is healing. I'm a doctor. My whole sole purpose is to heal and cure patient. This is what I'm doing with Ken, right? Also, the I'm gonna complain a little bit, just a little bit. So we know he had a lot of troubles because he gave Ken the organs of Rize. We don't really have a following on that. What happened? Did he go to court? What happened with that? We don't really know, right? People, it's kind of cool because he goes back to Adeku, and Ken is being treated like a hero because he pushed away a dove, which is weird because they kind of show you that most of the ghoul aren't able to fight dove. I know a lot of people that are not used. So Tokyo Ghoul, when you look at the grand scheme of thing, when you look at anime, right, it's not as popular as JJK, it's not as popular as Dragon Ball, not as popular as a lot of shows. So Tokyo Ghoul is pretty unknown. A lot of people are saying, why, if the way you're talking about the goals, the way you're talking about in Tokyo Ghoul, the way you're talking about the goal is like their next step of evolution. They can eat human, they have special power. Yeah, but what you guys don't understand is most of them are broke. Most of them prefer not to kill, so they don't eat, which means they never had full strength. Most of them are hiding because they know that if they're getting caught, they'll be there's no system of loyalty. For example, right? Antiku is the only system of loyalty we have. For example, take two different lion, two different tribe, right? They see one giraffe. Do you think the lion's gonna say, no, no, please go? And they're gonna go after them both. Which is kind of sucky, kind of cool, because it does show that it does give them a reason not to be friendly with each other. Also, with ghouls, they can eat other ghouls. So, for example, human wouldn't eat human, but ghoul will often use ghoul. There's a chapter in this one. I think it's this thing. Let me check. Yes, it is in this one. There's in this one, right, where they're actually a group going after ghouls to eat them. Because not only get stronger, but you get a lot stronger. I cannot tell you more about that because that's just extremely spoilery. Okay, right? We have it's weird because most of the ghouls are like, oh my god, you're a hero. But then you would say, and that's a little bit of my opinion on itself. But you know that and like the 24th is very peaceful. There's not a lot of dove, but you listen to them talking, and it's like the 24th, they're full of dove. So how do they do? How do they survive? Then you see, there's the thing in 20th Ward. I'm gonna spoil it a little bit for you. 20th Ward, because it's very peaceful, most of the weak ghouls come in. But there's some extremely strong ghoul in the 20th. There's Jason, there's Ken, there's the one-eyed ghoul. Spoiler. There's the rabbit, there's Yomo, there's Rengeku. There is the Endeku manager. There's two of the employees of Endeku. I'm not gonna say who. There is the brother of Jason. There was Rize. There was a gourmet. There was Nishiki. So there's a couple of them that are strong. But then I just told you what? I just told you 12. And I had to really think. And you're going to tell me there's less than 12 doves? Also, the situation, that's not the problem. The greatest situation is, as a reader, I can guarantee you, I often take more for the goal. The only dove that I really, there's two doves that I really enjoy. There's three of them. There's a guy I never remember his name. You didn't meet him yet. There's Amon, there's this kid, and there's another one, Arima, that you don't know yet. But this kid is really cool. And then there's Edie, that's somewhat of a dove. Oops, spoiler. He's not a dove, don't worry. Kind of, but not really. So here we have the reality of that there's a lot more dove. The dove, you don't care about killing them, but the ghoul, you care about them, you know? Can a ghoul, okay. I feel like one. A ghoul, also possible statement for how weak more ghoul are. I said that already. Finally, a new obsession with Ide. So Ide gets really interested into ghouls, and at the end, it's kind of intended that he understands that Ken is a ghoul. But the thing with Ide is he's very perceptive, and we know that sooner or later he was going to realize that. Even if you read like a couple chapter in, I think. That chapter, I think Ken transforming into a ghoul right away, I don't think Ide would have known. I think as soon as we learn that Ide know that Nishiki was a ghoul, I think he's gonna figure out that Ken was a ghoul too. But that's something you guys knew already. 21. We got the incredibly underrated chapters. I'm gonna tell you honestly, I've read Tokughoul 3 times already. This is my 4th time, right? This is my first time in a couple of years though. Since we started content creation, actually. So this is an incredibly underrated chapters, and some of the really cool thing when you're content creating is that you're looking forward a little bit more for information, for X, for Y, for Z, for Y, again Y, and you're like, okay, well, I need to get information too because I want to do a nice recap. This episode was really sweet. So one of the most important characters and a Tokyo storyline, and I can tell you without spoiling, it's Tuka. Tuka is arguably possibly in importance, possibly the 3rd or the 4th characters in importance in the whole goddamn show. I'm talking Tokyo Ghoul, I'm talking Tokyo Ghoul Tuka is possibly. So we have a chapter, the 31 is about Tuka. So we know that she has there's this really sweet picture that we're going to be using in thumbnails. She takes care of Inami, and they're really sweet together. There's like their older sister. We realize that Tuka has a good friend, and that friend, she's so sweet. And it's funny because you kind of know that something's going to happen between Tuka and Ken, right? And they're very similar. They're very similar. So Ken has this best friend, which is Ide, and Tuka has this best friend. I don't know her name, I'm sorry, right? It's so sweet. She wants to be an aspiring chef, and she gives food to Tuka because Tuka and her are best friend. Tuka is a ghoul, she cannot eat the food, and the best friend understands that Tuka doesn't like the food, so you realize the reason that she's trying to cooking. You realize that reason that she's trying so many dishes is to find one dish that Tuka likes, which is really sweet. There's also a really cool, really cool part of the chapters. Again, this is personally my style of shit. They're a teenager. They're cool, but they're a teenager. So when they said, hey, the new song from Black Bear, which is a rapper, right, is good, you're like, holy shit, they're just teenager. Right? We have Tuka bestie caring. Tuka, she needs to move because she needs to move with Inami. And it's really freaking sweet because the best friend of Tuka, she sees the shoes of Ken. Oh, you have a boyfriend. And then she does a movement with the hand, which possibly means good luck or kiss him or have sex, you know. And Tuka, because she's a ghoul and she's not really used to human interaction, doesn't know what it means. Because she doesn't really understand what it means, we're not supposed to understand what it means. So it's super cool chapter. Listen, in the grand scheme of things, there's nothing that happened in this chapter that you care about. In the grand scheme of things, there's nothing in this chapter that is worth remembering. However, it's sweet. I tell you to get more training with Tuka, right? She is, you can see, and what is really nice about Tuka and Ken is you can start to see that she's respecting Ken. You can start to see that she cares about Ken a little more. She's a lot nicer. And it's not like my issue of anime, especially anime, more than any shows, is that people just become friends like that. Hey, you're fighting this bad guy? Well, let's fight him together. We're best friends. No, bro. No, it's not work like that. So Tuka seeing how much Ken cares about the ghouls. Then again, people are calling Tuka, myself, I called Tuka an asshole multiple times. Not during this review, but before. And you realize that Tuka, Ken was an asshole. Ken was like, I'm not a monster, you're monsters. I'm a human. I want to say human. It's like, no, bro, you're a ghoul. Don't you understand? You're being nice to your own, you're being mean to your own race. I'm not gonna fucking help you. Fuck you. Which I adore. We have Yomo, right? Yomo, the thing with Yomo is you don't really understand how strong he is. I said multiple times, Yomo is possibly the most mysterious ghoul of the 20th yard. And the reason for that is because we know he has to do with Antiku. We don't know to what extent. We know he has a past in one of the most dangerous ward, but we don't know to which extent. So he helps train. That's when you learn that Tuka is the one that he's the one that trained Tuka, which is Tuka, she's training Ken. So Yomo is actually really, really cool, right? We have the hierarchy. We got the intro to the gourmet, right? The gourmet is kind of cool because in the grand scheme of things, I just told you in this video, I told you that ultimately speaking, the dove were the enemy here. Now, the gourmet is the bad guy of this arc, if you will. And I don't know, listen, I'm in the moment guy. I'm in the moment. I am very aware of what's going on. I'm very aware of the situation that's going on, very aware of the emotion that a character may feel or may not feel. However, I'm always going to have a problem with the behind the scene, with the planning. So, for a show like Dragon Ball Z, I know exactly the arc. For a show like Bleach, I know exactly the arc. For a show like Naruto, I know exactly the arc. However, for a show like Tokyo Ghouls, finding the arcs are a bit harder. Let me have a sip of a, it's not a root beer, it's a I don't know how you call it. Spruce beer. I filmed so much today. Need a little bit of sugar. Okay, so we have the gourmet, and the gourmet is kind of cool. The gourmet, in my opinion, and most of Tokyo Ghoul is one of my favorites. I'm gonna switch position because I want to get comfy. If you don't like it, I'm sorry, but that's life. Yeah, so we're gonna be super. Look, flailing my legs. Feet fricks, get away. So yeah, so the ghoul. You have to understand that the ghouls are constantly being targeted. They constantly have to hide. So most of them don't have a very big personality. Most of them are pretty reserved. Because again, information. We're gonna see it in these chapters, which is the next one, right? That's the not the next one, the one after. The goals are pretty reserved, and we learn that information is super valuable. And what we realize, which is breaking my mind, after 4 reads, even Anteku may not know that this person is a ghoul. Now, block your ears for the next 10 seconds. No, block your ear for the next 20 seconds. The worst part about Tokyo Ghoul is the very ending, when you realize that so many people in the government, so many people that are high grade were ghoul to begin with. That's the worst part of it. But then again, it's a proof that they don't know who's a ghoul and who isn't a ghoul. So, because Ken smell different, it is the fact that the way that the reason that why Ken smells different because he's half and half, right? Because he smells so different. The gourmet have a good taste for him. Now, this in chapter 33 is good, but in chapter 24 we learned a lot. 33 nice. We got nice meeting between Ken and the gourmets, and this is where Ken is a bit not I wouldn't say stupid per se, but disappointing for sure. So the anti-cool people, everybody was telling him, "Yo, be careful with him," right? And then you got the gourmet who's talking to Ken, and instead of Ken being like, "Yo, fuck you," like, "Okay, yeah, yeah, we're friends." But then you realize why they're friends, and that's actually quite nice. You got Ken and the gourmet, where you actually feel bad for the gourmet. So the gourmet is like, "Yo, this gourmet." Okay, so again, another spoiler. Okay, it's not a big spoiler though. So there's certain ghoul. Rize was one. Okay, so basically, if you listen to what I just said, you understand that it's not a spoiler. Rize is a big one. Gourmet is a big one. So you know that a lot of the ghouls are highly grade are in the government, and you learn that there's noble family of ghoul because the ghouls date from the same as human, right? So there's normal family, and a normal family, just like in normal time, normal family were a lot more educated. That's why Rize could read. That's why Rize loved to read. The gourmet, he loves to read. Ken, if it was a ghoul, would have not loved to read. However, he loves to read because he was a human before. So the gourmet see, like, you see the other ghouls, and I'm not trying to be mean. This is what they say in the show. Like, yeah, the other ghouls are fucking stupid, dude. They're stupid. They don't care about education. They don't care. Like even Inami, you feel bad because she was homeschooled. Inami, she feels very bad because she was homeschooled, and she's not as smart. She's trying to read, but we don't know how advanced for her age she is. We don't know how old she is. If you look at characters like Nishiki is actually one of the girls that's the most educated, but he's an asshole, right? If you look at Tuka, we know that Tuka, she's studying for exam. We know she's a normal student. But once again, they don't tell us how good she is at school. It doesn't seem to show an interest in. So she's studying, but we don't even know what she's studying in. Is she a normal student? Because we know that Nishiki is studying to become a doctor. Right, we got a nice between the gourmets. You actually feel bad for the gourmet because he feels alone, right? We learned that he was a friend with Rize, which is cool because Rize was this character that yes was a ghoul but was also very human, very good at blending in, which was really cool. He said that however him and Rize used to love books, which we know is true because we saw Rize read the book, right? Now he feels lonely, right? He feels alone, and it's kind of cool because the way he puts it, and you really have to read between the lines. You really have to know your shit. What the fuck? Somebody has a radio fucking loud. It's really interesting because he says the ghouls are pushing me away, right? The reason why the ghouls are pushing him away is for the same reason that they're pushing away Rize. There's this sense of solidarity between ghouls, where I won't tell you you're a ghoul if you don't tell I'm a ghoul, which is for preservation. But it's also like, oh, I don't like you. I'm not gonna help you. So they're pushing him away because he's a ghoul that eats human for fun. Spoiler, he's a gourmet ghoul after all, and he eats human for fun. And then we have the second part where he says, "They don't really accept me." And with Ken is starting to get accepted, but to get accepted, what it took was for him to beat a dove. And he didn't feel like beating that dove, so it doesn't feel like he belongs. Maybe it doesn't feel like he belongs a lot with the other ghouls, right? Now she gone. He loved books. Felt the exact same way. Perfect. So they're talking about how his whole life he felt alone. And Ken, when you look at his story, when you look at his childhood, it's very sad. His mom, she died very young. His aunt, she didn't give a shit about him. Very similar to Harry Potter, actually. And yeah, they're able to have this bond, and because him and Rize were so close, wants to be he wants to be the friend of Gourmet, and my opinion, and this is not specified in the book, it's never specified, is because he feels Rize in his body, and there's some time where he loses control, and he says something along the line of, "I don't control my body." So for Ken, who is a very logistic person, he thinks, okay, well, Rize is controlling the body. So because he wants to learn more about Rize, what he does is he wants to get closer to Gourmet. We got 24. We go to a bar. right? To meet people, and it's weird because Ken just follow Yomo. We don't have a reason why. We learned a lot in that chapter though, and that information. Um, hmm. Interesting wise, possibly not the best, but information wise, the best. We go to a bar, right? We learn about the half breed. We learn about what it takes to be a rare breed, a half breed. It's rare. You could have a father that's a ghoul and a mother that's human. It could work. You could have you couldn't have a mom you couldn't have a mom who's a human and a father who's a ghoul because it wouldn't work. It would poison the mom and she would die. They're very, very rare, but it happened. We know that there's another one-eyed ghoul, which is not like Can, and she's being hunted. And people are gonna think that it's Can because he does have one eye. We have okay, perfect. She has a deal. He wants to learn because Ken has a lot of question, and that person she has a lot of answer because she deals in information, and it's kind of cool because her bar is similar to Enteku. However, Enteku is like the communism. It's like I'm gonna help you for no reason. She's like, I'm not gonna help you. You're gonna have to help me. She wants to learn about the gourmet restaurant, which Ken has been closer to gourmet, so is it's possible. And he wants to learn more about Rize, but she's like, no, you're gonna give me information. And then we have one piece of information that is super, super, super important. That Rize wasn't. It was an accident that Rize died that night. She was killed, which is super important because we don't know who killed her, right? But we know she was a problem for a lot of people, and we know from various goal that people didn't like Rize. 25, the last one. Ken researched the restaurant for info, right? For the gourmet, absolutely what he was asking in the bar. Ends up fighting. He finds Nishiki, and Nishiki is still wounded, which is weird because so. It's very weird. It's very, very, very weird. So Nishiki is a goal that we know. But again, we don't know the consumption of meat for every single goal. For example, Ken has a wound, he heals. Yomo has wound, he heals. Nishiki, remember in the first episode or the second episode? When he fights with Tuka and he has a problem with healing. Then he fights with Ken and he hasn't healed and that's been like 10 chapters again. So he finds Nishiki getting beaten and he's getting defeated by a group of ghouls, right? That are like, yo, we like to eat ghouls. And it's like, okay, well, I know Nishiki's an asshole, but you cannot eat him. He defends Nishiki, and this is possibly one of the nicest chapters, emotional wise. We know that Nishiki has a girlfriend, and the girlfriend, she like we had a confirmation that she knows that he's a ghoul, which is extremely important because she chose to. There's not a lot of relationship between ghouls and human. I think there's like I'd be surprised if there's a handful of them, to be honest. So I'm trying to think about more, but to be honest, can't think about anything. So the fact that she is with a goal willingly is kind of cool. And Ken is like, "Aren't you afraid?" She's like, "No." It is so sweet. It's like she was born a human, right? If I was born a ghoul, I would kill too. So I have to understand where he's coming from. I understand that it's his nature. It's not his fault, right? And it's so super cool because we have a relationship. In the last chapter, we were talking about how the procreation, the having a baby in between human and ghoul is possible. So you hear that shit? People are nuts, dude. I don't know where it's coming from. Fuck, it's loud. I knew it was not important. Right after possible child, my neighbors are putting music loud. It's 11 o'clock on Saturday. You think I'm fucking nuts? I'm not nuts. I'm not crazy. You're crazy. I'll show you who's crazy. Yes, we have the relationship between Nishiki and his girlfriend, which is super sweet, and it's nice because the more the story goes, the more Ken becomes more of a ghoul. He kind of give up on his humanity, kind of give up on being friend with human, and this is the first time since he's a ghoul that there's a proof that friendship between human and ghoul is possible. And the goal of Ken is to stay friend with Ide. Ken first, the reason why he's a ghoul, he wanted a date. Ken wanted to stay friend with Ide. Then you realize there's a sad thing about Ken, about Tokyo Ghoul. The sad thing is about this sad thing, and a lot of people say the story of Ken Kaneki is sad. And it is sad, but it's not sad because he became a ghoul. The sadness in the story of Ken Kaneki, Ken just wanted to be normal, dude. He just wanted a normal life. It is sad. Okay. Victim of their nature, nice. And that's pretty much it. Anywho, love you guys, take it easy. Peace.